All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to you brothers out there pushing this truth and sincerity. And pretty much, I just wanted to get into this article. It's entitled Up to 500,000 Muslims to Leave USA After Trump Election. And pretty much like 2017 being the year of death, destruction, and diligence, Mosai Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is using Trump to stir these prophecies and basically to bring this whole thing to a close, man. So at that, let's go further into this article. All right, it says every Texas home is incomplete without this one thing. Salakia. Let's scroll down. It says New York Magazine says that Muslim women and girls are afraid to wear the hijab. You know, the little Muslim shit that they wear. You know, that just avoid from being identified as Muslims because of, the Trump election and whatnot. Slate is telling Muslims to not stand too close to subway platforms, since obviously all white people, Edomites, are racist and will push Muslims into the path of oncoming trains. CNN says that a good portion of Muslim Americans are actively looking to move out of the United States. Pew Research claims that there are approximately 3.3 million Muslims in the USA. If just 20,000, if just 20%, Salakia, are scared enough to want to move, that is over 500,000 Muslims who are seeking to live elsewhere. President-elect Trump tried to reach out to all Americans in his victory speech last night, but for Muslims, these words ring hollow. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me, Donald Trump. So, one prophecy that basically comes to mind, reading through this article, goes back into, Isaiah, the 13th chapter. And it reads as follows. I'll start at the 13th verse. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. Because, we come into the time where the Most High is about to cast his fury, which is those thermonuclear missiles. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. And that's pretty much the controversy that you're seeing with Trump being in office. Racial tension is at an all-time high. He wants to enforce a border patrol in Mexico and whatnot. And also, one of the brothers recently brought out that they may actually do martial law over in Chicago. So, this thing is, coming right along, So any man who would think otherwise is pretty much, fooling himself, thinking that they're not measuring the time diligently, and thinking that, these prophecies ain't coming to pass, and it being the year of death and destruction. So it's up to us, the hopeful men of the Lord, to be diligent, just pushing these prophecies. Okay. I think I got a little bit more here in this article. Yeah. Salakia, I can hold it for one moment. Alright. It says, most Muslims are peaceful and will never harm anybody. However, there are many fearful Americans who see Muslims as the enemy. Hopefully, President Trump will be a peacemaker, as these Muslim Americans are facing real fear in the aftermath of the election. And pretty much we already know that us being Hebrew Israelites, they want to lump us into that same category. So that's the common role as far as like the time of Jacob's trouble, with martial law, where they seek to persecute, us as being men of the Lord out there teaching on the highways and hedges about our true heritage, which is being Hebrew Israelites, you know. But just to go on, it says, I'll just read this portion here. The Muslim residents in Dearborn, Michigan say that Trump will be a danger to the United States of America. The Republican presidential nominee has said that Islam hates us, and those residents don't agree with that. Some have said that they will leave for Canada if Trump becomes president. His goal is to upset and anger people. The only reason that people are going to get upset about this is because there are facts. If the comeback you have against a fact is that it shouldn't be stated, because it's going to upset and anger people, then you need a reality check. Alright. It actually seems ironic that the Muslims of this city are threatening to leave the United States if Trump wins the presidency. So you know what needs to be done, right? This article needs to be shared to show as many people as possible this threat from the Muslim community in Dearborn. And so that's taking place in Michigan, That's basically, you're going to see that type of controversy happening all throughout the United States. This is Second Esdras, the 15th chapter, and I will start at the 15th verse. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." Alright? And that's coming during the time of martial law. You're going to have the highways and to different cities sealed off. Military groups is going to be blocking the pathways. They'll institute curfews, and they're going to be taking you tribes to these detention centers. Alright? It says in verse 19, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation." Alright, and what two places right now that we can say that's experienced a lack of bread is, in Mexico and in Venezuela. And Lord Yahweh Yahushua Ratazah, I may post another lesson, because it came out that there's actually cannibalism going on over there. So, but this is just just exhorting you Akim out there that's keeping an eye out for the prophecy. So, with that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and with that, Shalom.